has officially started. Of course, our round one stream game is going to be Jewel Knights versus Spikes.
Go ahead and cut to the field.
Looks like Marshal is getting first turn with the die roll, which is it's a pretty good place to be against Jules. You know, it's never a bad thing to be able to take away their first ride up turn.
I also think that for Spike Brothers, they do want to be on the aggressive. They want to be on the offensive as much as they can, because Spike Brothers is always known as like the deck that just doesn't stop like hitting no matter what.
Yeah, it's very in your face. It's very aggressive, but in the same like sense, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because if with Jewel Knights in this case, they're gonna get first stride. Assuming depending on how the grade 2 game goes, I'm assuming these two players are probably gonna go back and forth a little bit on 2. So if the Jewel Knights gets a good kind of back and forth in the grade 2 and gets first stride, it is a very deadly position to be in, right? Mm-hmm. Because even without the restriction, if they're sitting on 5 CV, it's a scary turn, you know.
And so we do see that Marshall has the agile fullback already set up in the back row. This is going to give Marshall a good, decent push when it comes to the next turn as well, because now Erick's going to have to deal with this fullback twice.
Yeah, it definitely gives him a great advantage when it comes to trying to play grade 2. It's very intimidating, right? Because you immediately just have this back row threat that you can't even really answer. Now, Jewel Knights does have an answer to it.
But we see that he did not ride it.
Yeah. He did not ride it for grade 1, and even if he has it in hand, it is a -2 just to pop the 1 card. So
I do think that Marshall took that into an account that Erick did not ride it.
Yeah, if you don't see the Eunice grade 1 ride, the fullback is pretty much free, you know. Not sure if the stream is hearing that, but ignore any strange noises you might be hearing in the background.
So we do see Erick taking, I don't know what that grade 1 is called, but he did take, I'm guessing that
the Searcher. Do not remember her name, but it is a very good card.
It's the Searcher when called on.
It's pretty much a draw one because you're very unlikely to whip it, but it does look like we're immediately going to be contesting grade 2 here.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, there's no reason not to. He has the Eunice to get back in hand. He's pretty much plusing for 3 this turn. The only real threat is still going to be that fullback in the back.
We do know that Erick is a very aggressive player when it comes to Jewel Knights, so we both have played against him many of times, so he likes doing.
He's not afraid to burn all of his CV, even on the first grade 2 game. He has just sheer confidence in his play that once he gets to strides, once he gets to grade 3, that he can just outplay his opponent. And he has proven that. You know, his track record is very good. We are going to pop the soul. Pretty much free here because we're going to put those 2 cards back in deck anyway, right, with Lele.
If anybody is not aware of what Jewel Knights do, basically they like to call on top of each other so that they can return each other back to deck or gain extra effects. It's basically like what Royal Paladin has always been known for, superior calling or calling in general, but it adds just you have to call on top of units.
What we saw there is personally one of my favorite reasons that Sybil's skill, which if you're unaware, Sybil's skill is simply on attack. Put a grade 2 or less card from hand into soul and draw a card. Because it says grade 2 or less card, you can simply put the quick shield into soul, it fizzles out, and you just get a free +1. It's very nice, free value.
So here we are resolving the Christine.
It's pretty straightforward. You're almost always going to pitch the other grade 3 that you revealed because there's no reason to hang on to it until you're striking. And with the way these decks are going to go back and forth, he's not going to need it for a while.
So Marshall did not use the agile fullback on main phase. He decided to use it for the Dexter play.
Yeah. Which I'm personally not as familiar with spikes. So I'm not 100% aware of what the decision making on that choice is. But
So I assume that he needed a grade 2 so that he can just extend more.
yeah,
Because obviously,
because I mean
the-
did get pushed to 4 in the first grade 2, right? So he does kind of need to push back.
yeah. And if people don't know what this grade 2 that he put down, this says that he's going to return a normal unit and then your opponent has to intercept.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of breaks a bunch of boards and also like breaks stuff that like the Narukami, the Eradicator that pops something, because now instead of them willingly wanting to choose when to intercept, they're forced to use it right now.
It's a very nice kind of control that the deck gets just for doing what it already wants to do anyway. So it is a bit unfortunate that he is losing the grade 2. It's a very nice card to have for the grade 2 game, but it is a forced intercept.
Another good thing about the card too is that it does push itself in the soul and draws a card, so it does ditch a bunch of decks in the meta.
So that does make this turn much easier.
So it was a 1 to pass, and he did hit the draw.
Yeah. But Erick, that does match him at damage, which is not a bad place to be, because now any heals are online if he hits anything. He has 3 open CB that he can extend with, because again, it is Jewel Knights. We can extend as much as we have CB.
It's one of those decks where if you give it enough CB, you might as well have already dug yourself your own grave.
It might as well be a limit break. Like, there's no official limit break in Jewel Knights, but it's in a similar sense as...
Well, we did have the one that he just wrote is technically the old limit break. This was the old break ride.
But it's almost like Nightmare Dolls in
Yes.
a sense. Nightmare Dolls is literal in the sense that they can extend as much as they have CB. With Jewel Knights, it's just... we have the cards that loop as much as we have CB. And it looks like he did choose to ride up, which... honestly, in the situation he's in, I would be doing the same, right? Because you're already at 5. Spike's grade 2 is only going to get more scary, and your opponent's at 4. So he cannot heal going to 5, and you have 4 open CB. You have a lot to work with. He did also call the new grade 2, which, much like every other Jewel Knight, her effect is a Soul Charge 1 when you call over her. But she has the bonus effect if you have no other face-up CB, she countercharges 1. So he can extend pretty much as he wants this turn with 4 open CB, effectively 5 with Miranda if he chooses to use it. So this is going to be a very threatening turn. He's got 2 Unisys on board, so he's going to... 3 Unisys, sorry. So he's already soul charging 3 there, and 3 Ashleys. This is a threatening turn. He is going...
So he is going to be at least getting 2 of the effects for sure off, but we all know that you can soul charge easily in this deck.
Well, he's getting +3 soul here just on board, and I believe he has 5 in soul.
Okay. Yes, he has 5 right now.
So immediately he's effectively at 8 soul right now, which is enough for Ashley's. He's going to soul charge more during the turn. And he can get the Christines out. So this is a...
So we did hit a defensive, which, it kind of hurts, but I don't think it's going to do much.
He can still make a 20 to 21k column on the left side without a force marker. So if he hits any trigger, on this... Actually, even better, he now has a 23k column with Lay. So he's already still swinging over the 1 defensive. Any trigger he hits here can just... it's just free value, right? He's already swinging over. So he puts 2 back here, he'll still charge 1, and that gets the +5, so he gets a 23k column. So even the 1 defensive, he still needs to give 1 card from hand. Which, effectively, I think is the main goal here, is eat as many cards as he can before he starts going into the Christine Ashley loops, because those are the bigger numbers he wants to be more threatening.
So we do see that Marshal puts down the heal guard, so that's going to make this agile fullback a 30k right now.
Yes. That definitely makes the turn a little bit harder. He still can get the numbers there.
Right now, he can still hit over with this side right now. This is 31. So we are going to give 10k more. So this is 40k to the agile fullback.
At this point, I think with both people at 5, we're kind of just looking to eat cards from hand because that Heal Guardian made things very good. We're going to get another column here. Probably going into the Christine Ashley setup.
I don't know if he's going to go into
maybe not, because
Ashley,
it won't
but
hit.
yeah.
I think that's what he's thinking. Now, he does have effectively another force marker on the left side because Lele's skill, when called over, she gives the unit +10. So he pretty much has 2 forces to work with here. Which means he could drop a Lele.
I would say what he could do is he could call Christine and then call over the Lele.
Well, if he calls over, so yeah, he could make a 30k, but we're currently 35 of them on the fullback, correct?
For Vanguard swing.
I think so.
So right now the
He hit
Vanguard
a
swing
10K
is
defensive?
20. No, he hit a 10k defensive, so we're 40k right now.
Okay, so yeah. So I don't know if he can get anything that's going to hit over. So it may just be a setup. So he's going to go into the Christine. We're doing a little shortcutting on the shop lane because he's going to go back in the deck. We might as well, right? So he's going to go back, get our, I would say 4th Ashley, but we're already putting more Ashleys back in the deck.
Yeah.
So he, as much as he's calling these grade 2s, he effectively has unlimited loops, so it's as much a resource as he has. Case, Soul Charge the Sword Me. Not a horror, but it's better than Soul Charging a trigger at this point, right? Because we really need an offensive trigger here to make that other call. Which right now I believe are at 8-1. And it does not hit. Oh, it does. He gets the second. So he gives everything to the other column. I think it was actually 2.
So the Vanguard wasn't going to be hitting. He was swinging 26 to 40k, so it was a 2 to pass.
So when we saw the first no trigger, it was not a hit. But he does get the offensive to put on the other column. So his other column now can. Oh no, wait, it's 40. So he has to set up. Try to get some higher numbers here. That's close. Gets so at this point, right? He gets the Lele on the other column. It still doesn't hit. It's a 33 column. But also with the Lele, he gets another +10. He can make a 41k call.
Yeah.
So he can get numbers that because the other Ashley is going to set that up. Or he could make another 40k column if he calls a Christine instead. Which both players are at 5-2, so heals are on 9s. Never know if it comes down to it. You could see that 6 damage hit. So we're going to swing the Lele. It does not hit, but the point of this obviously is we're going to block the our Christine, something else, and get the Soul Charge. So it doesn't hit, but we get our effect. That's the important part here, because we're calling over it. So this attack we're going to eat. He only needs to guard for 1 card, because it is at 40.
Yeah. I do believe this attack is 41.
It's a 40.
It's 40, okay.
She's a 7.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it is 2 damage, because he did hit it. So it is a must guard here. So in this case, now is where the Lele is going to come into play, because she's going to act pretty much as a second force marker, and we get another column that can actually hit. And he does choose to hold the resources, just go for the one attack that hits. Because this is going to be a 43, I believe.
So with her skill, she gets 10
25,
all
35,
over.
yeah,
So
it's
it's
a 43 on the 8K booster. We're going to get 3 more cards back in the deck with the Lele and skills overall, and with the Soul Charge too. So. Unfortunately, though, with the defenses, with the Heal Guardian, it's still a very easy attack to guard. So now we finish resolving the Christine skill from earlier. It is a mandatory, you must return if it's there, and it does discard. But now we get to go into Marshal, who is living on 4 open CB. He's going to get his stride. He's pretty much exactly where he wants to be.
yeah.
Get a little face cam on this turn here, because we're going in.
Yeah, I do think that for Marshall, this is kind of like a do or die turn.
Yeah, 100%. I think both players were in the same situation. Erick, recognized that he wrote up, so he knows his opponent's going to get first strike. He's already in 4, and he had the cards in hand to push for a kill. I think that would have been a kill turn had it not been for the kill card, which, that's just something you have to account for. That wasn't a misplay on Erick's part. It wasn't an overextension. It was just interaction with the game. That's something you have to keep in mind when you're the first round, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here, like I said before, Marshal's pretty much in a situation where he has just about everything he needs, and just has to decide how much he wants to push, which with both players at 5, we're going for game here,
Yeah. No, I do think that specifically this is just a do or die turn.
Yeah. Because at this point, I think the only thing you're afraid of if you're in Marshal's seat is a defensive overtrigger.
Mm-hmm.
And it would need to be first damage defensively.
Yeah.
Even if Erick 6 damage heals, you're not really afraid of it, right? You know that there are, you know some of what the cards in this hand are because they were revealed and they were put back. So you have that kind of that extra knowledge that can help you decide how much you want to extend. So we do drop 2 Unisys for that 1 attack. So that's already a good number of other hands, and that's before we even swung with our Force 2, Force 1. And there you see it. He guarded with the overtrigger, so he has nothing to fear this turn.
Yep.
That is
A good thing to note is we also haven't seen Marshall's OT as well.
I don't think he needs it at this point. The only thing he really needed to be worried about was a defensive OT from Erick's side, and that just, we've seen it was in hand. So he's pretty well set. I think at this point he knows his combos, he knows his deck, he just goes for what he's comfortable with.
And so if people don't know what the stand trigger does, the stand trigger says that at the whenever it goes back to the deck, which what Galley is going to force it back, he gets to choose a card from his hand, put it into the soul, and then he blinks a card basically on the board. So what this is going to do is after he swings with one of these stand triggers, he's going to blink that Dexter that he has rested, and it's either going to go to the front or it's going to go and push the Davy that he has into soul to call out 2 other attacks.
Yep, and we see a perfect guard on the Vanguard swing, so that's another 2 cards out of Erick's hand. He is living on that free real estate right now, just burning down his hand, which is, it's exactly what he wants to see, right?
Also, since he used the Galley's effect to call the stand triggers, the grade 2 now has boost.
Mm-hmm. So both, even had he hit a defensive, both of these columns are...
so this is going to be 24.
So he gets the intercept out of the way. So now he knows he doesn't have to worry about the Royals G guard, right? Because if he gave up the intercept early, he's not sitting on that G guard.
And so here we are going to see 2 grade 2s coming out on the board.
Mm-hmm.
I do think we are going to see that agile fullback kind of coming back, maybe.
Yep, there he is.
And then now we are going to proc Rona, which is going to most likely call the Lucifer. Yep.
There he is. Spikes, if anything, is a very consistent deck. And I think, honestly, that's one of its pure strengths, because there are a lot of aggressive decks in the format right now, but a lot of them still need to see some pieces. And Spikes isn't, an exception to that, but its cards effect are very strong consistency.
We do see that Erick is surrendering game one.
Yeah, he did have to take one hit. He had, I believe, there was one Peachy in hand, and although not public knowledge at the time, we knew there was an Ashley in hand because it got bounced back from the Christine effect, so there was not much shield left. Honestly, pretty solid display from both players. Erick knowing when to take the ride up and try to push for game, and Marshal, knowing when it came to his turn that he could make it the last turn, right? He knew what he had to do to push it.
Yeah.